You can be both externally successful and internally empty at the same time, where your accomplishments can feel both impressive and hollow. This is something that I call the purpose paradox. And today I want to explain why this happens and what it's actually trying to tell you. My name's Joanna. I'm a certified life coach, and I work with high achieving women who feel a disconnection between their external success and their internal fulfillment, helping them to solve that disconnection and the anxiety that they feel around it, to transform that into peace, clarity, and purpose. So I want to start off with my personal story, and if you see me looking down, I just have some notes here because I want to make sure that I cover everything. It's a bit here to unpack. But for me and my journey from really living and working as a massage therapist to becoming a life coach, I was working in massage therapy for several years and had a lot of fulfillment in that, in helping people to relieve their stress and their anxiety physically. But I also felt that as I was looking at the connection between the body and the stress that the body holds, and people's internal struggle with overwhelm and anxiety, I could see the emotional connection. And I wanted to be able to go deeper with that, exploring what that meant. And I had and always had like an interest in psychology and personal development. And also looking at the different losses that I had been through throughout my life. There was a span of several years where I had lost my parents, both of my parents, to illness, and was going through a divorce. And these different losses that had occurred and having to grieve those things and process that, I realized that I had developed a process to work through all of that and to rebuild my life. And I wanted to be able to help other people who were going through grief and loss and dealing with stress, and people who wanted to make transitions in their life, whether exploring different things, rebuilding their lives in some way. And so that's kind of where I was feeling a bit of a disconnection. The purpose paradox. I was working in one field, but I knew that I was called to something more. And so I was able to make that transition through the process of really looking at what my true desires were and how I was going to bring what I was feeling inside and the things that I wanted to accomplish, how to bring that into fruition. And it wasn't necessarily about abandoning the success that I had had in one field. It was just about looking at ways to realign things so that my true calling was realized. So this purpose paradox is basically when your external success and your internal fulfillment don't really align. And there are different reasons why this happens. One cause can be that when you're looking at your success, could it be that you've been succeeding in somebody else's definition of success? Is it that you've built maybe a version of your life that isn't truly your own? Maybe it's you've had pressures from society, from your family, the way you grew up. There were certain things that were expected of you. And who you are now may be very different than the person who was working at all those other things, that older version of you. Could it be that you've changed so much that your current situation, your life situation, doesn't reflect the person that you're becoming? And so you see, that's kind of where an anxiety issue can come up, and where you're able to see that purpose paradox. Who you've been is not matching with what you truly want to be, who you truly want to be, what you truly want to do. Another cause for this purpose paradox could be that your achievements have become sort of a substitute for authenticity. Because perhaps you didn't feel like you could boldly and truly be yourself. And so in order to kind of get around that in a way, you've become really good at excelling, and productivity became sort of like you've taken on an identity of productivity and excelling because you've made it a substitute for who you really are, what you really want to do, and it felt safer. It felt safer for you to operate in that mode than to just let your authentic self shine. But the thing is that your external wins and your productivity are not going to fill that void that you're feeling when it comes to your internal fulfillment, when it comes to your deeper purpose. So anxiety, or I'm looking at how does it show up in the purpose paradox? How does anxiety really show up? First of all, I think you have to realize that anxiety, it isn't a weakness. It's actually a signal that something is missing. How does this kind of show up in your day-to-day life? You may feel like, despite all of your achievement, there's this restlessness that you feel that you just can't seem to get around. There may be an internal whisper that there's more for you than what you're living right now. You may have a discomfort every time that you realize you're betraying your deepest desires. Do you even know what those deepest desires are? That could be a cause for anxiety as well. You just feel that you have this general emptiness around your success. And it's not that you're not proud of your success, but this feeling of emptiness despite your success just doesn't seem to go away. The anxiety that you feel around this is actually your true self, your truer self, telling you that there's something more. So, what is the way out of this purpose paradox? Because it's not about more achievement or working harder. It's internal work. It's internal work. The first step is being able to reconnect with your true desires and taking the time to figure out what that really is. Ultimately, that has to become a priority. It's about making the shift from striving to alignment, where you're not chasing validation, but you're aligning with your internal truth, whatever that may be. It's about doing internal work, going inward, not about striving for more and more accomplishments. So for me, what that looked like was acknowledging that even though I was successful as a massage therapist, that wasn't enough. And about honoring the fact that I wanted to help people on a deeper level. I wanted to be able to help people to realize their potential, help them to rebuild their lives for those who have suffered through losses and grief. Because I had a process to get me through that, I wanted to help others to do that as well. And so transitioning from helping people physically with massage therapy to helping them emotionally and spiritually with life coaching is where I was able to align my skills with my true calling. And that is something that I think is something that a lot of us have the desire to do, but we're just so busy living life in our day-to-day that it almost seems like a luxury to want more and to want to go deeper. But the thing is that these feelings don't just disappear because we're busy and because we're just living life. And I think a lot of people would go deeper with this idea if they would just allow themselves the space and the time and have a process to work through it all. So you may be thinking, you've worked so hard for your success. You don't just want to throw it all away to pursue this other calling. But it's not about the success. Success isn't the problem. The problem is misalignment. And you can keep your achievements and realign them with this next version of yourself, with this deeper calling that you have. It's not about throwing away everything that you've accomplished. It's just about redirecting, getting more in alignment with this newer version of yourself. It's about redirection. Now, what if you're someone who you may not know what your deeper desires are at this moment? Or maybe you're not sure about how to reconnect with things that you've maybe abandoned in the past, those visions and those dreams that you had in your past. Life gets in the way and you may have forgotten that part of yourself. See, that's where the purpose paradox lies. That anxiety that you may be feeling, every time that anxiety spikes, that's where the purpose paradox is revealing itself. Every time you feel that you're betraying yourself in some way, where you're going against your instincts, your true desires, where anxiety is showing up, is telling you where the purpose paradox is playing out in your life. So start there. Look at where anxiety is rising. That's going to indicate where you're out of misalignment. So if you're someone where you're feeling that you've gotten a lot of success, but you're still feeling empty, your internal accomplishments feel both impressive and hollow at the same time, or you suspect that you're living someone else's version of success, And anxiety keeps whispering to you that there's more for you than what you're living right now. I want you to know that the purpose paradox, it's not a life sentence. It's actually a wake-up call. And you don't have to figure it out alone. What I want to offer you is a first step in working out through this process of discovering or rediscovering another version of you, the version of you that's been hiding beneath the surface. And it's just looking for a process in order to uncover who that is and discover what it is you truly want to be doing that's going to align your external success with your internal fulfillment. I have a free download. It's called the Purpose Emergence Guide. And it's specifically for high achieving women who are stuck in this purpose paradox. And it's to help you to reconnect with your true desires and to start your journey from striving to alignment. Click below for the link to this download. And I'm wishing you a day where you're making your happiness, your peace a priority. You're looking at that anxiety you may be feeling as a messenger, as a signal for you to go deeper and to draw out all of those skills, those gifts, and those talents that have been beneath the surface, that have been begging for you to come out. Peace and blessings. I'll see you soon.